Alright, what's up guys? It's Matt's Boost, and if you're watching this video, maybe you got a Corvette C6, maybe you're looking to buy a Corvette C6. Well, I've got a Corvette C6, and in this video, we're going to talk about 5 things you should know if you own a Corvette C6, or if you're thinking about buying one. Let's discuss it. So the Corvette C6 is a super wonderful car, man. They made it from 2005 to 2013. Now, if you've got a Corvette C6, you should know there isn't a spare tire, and so if you get a flat and you don't have fix-a-flat or you don't have run flats on there, you're going to be in a little bit of a pinch. I've got AAA, thank goodness, and I've had to tow my twin-turbo Corvette more times than I'd like to admit. If you're towing your Corvette, be aware that it sits super low. So when you're calling a tow truck company, if you've got to get your Corvette towed, make sure that they have experience in towing Corvettes and that the tow truck driver usually has a couple wooden boards with them so we can get that baby up on the tow truck without it ripping the freaking whole front air dam off. You know what I mean? That's the only bad thing. The Corvette C6, it sits pretty low. You got to be a little careful, especially if you've got it lowered a little bit. Getting it on a tow truck, make sure the tow truck driver's experienced with Corvettes. Make sure he's got some wooden boards, or you yourself, you can keep some little baby ramps in your trunk that'll help you out sometimes if you're in a pinch. All right, speaking of issues and mishaps and what ifs with the Corvette C6, another thing is if your battery dies, you'll notice there's no way to put your key in the door. You can't get in, but by the license plate, by the trunk, if you look up underneath there, you'll see that you can actually manually insert your key that'll give you access to the trunk or the hatch. Trunk if you got a convertible, hatch if you don't. There's a little lever right there behind the seat that you can pull on, and you'll have access to what you need. If the battery dies, don't worry, you can get in with the key. And also, one little small thing, if you're inside the car and the battery dies, remember there's some little plastic levers you can pull on down at the bottom that'll get you out as well, so don't forget about those. All right, the next thing on the list, and if you've got a Corvette C6 and you've been using your key fob and it hasn't really been picking up, and you got in your Corvette C6 and it says key fob not detected, guess what? If you open the glove box, there's a place to where you can insert your key fob and it'll pick it up, and then you can crank up your Corvette or do whatever you need to do. So if you ever get in a pinch, it's right there in the glove box. Now keep in mind, the first diagnostic piece whenever your key fob is doing that is replacing the battery in the key fob. If you replace the battery in the key fob, you might have a bigger issue, and that issue might be with the RCDLR, and that's the keyless control module, and that thing sits behind the dash, and after a while on these Corvette C6s, they stop picking up as well, and you're gonna have to replace it. And if you replace that module, you've got to get one off eBay, and then you've got to find a dealership or a buddy that's got a Tech 2 diagnostic tool that can reprogram that keyless entry module. All right, another little hidden thing about the Corvette C6, I learned this the hard way whenever I had my radar detector plugged in my cigarette lighter, and I think it blew a fuse doing that. I don't remember, maybe I hooked up an Xbox or something to it, but I blew a fuse and I didn't know where the heck the fuse box was. Well, it's actually in the passenger side footwell. If you pull the carpet, you'll see the fuse box, and you can find a manual line. You can see it on the little fuse box piece that you can pull off and look at. You can see the fuses, and if you blow the cigarette lighter fuse, that's where that bad boy's at. All right, last but not least, let's talk about tire sizes for the Corvette C6. So the Corvette C6, it's going to come with rims where they're 1 inch smaller on the front compared to the back. So 1920, 1819, depending on your setup. Now, here's the thing with the Corvette C6. When you're buying tires, say you decide to go with a drag pack or something in the rear, or maybe you decide to go with a little bit meatier tire, you need to remember, you need to keep the rear tire within a 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches height of that front tire. If that rear tire is shorter than a 1/2 inch, or probably 0.3, and if it's over 1.5 inches in height of that front tire, you're going to get some active handling issues, and it's going to cause some problems. Now, fortunately for me, I'm on the Holley ECU, so I don't have to worry about it. But if you got a factory ECU, that can be a big issue for you. If you go with a meaty little drag pack and you keep the factory tires on the front, or maybe even go with some skinnies, and the height is different, more than 1.5 inches, shorter than a 1/2 inch, taller than 1.5 inches, you're going to have some issues. So keep that in mind. You can use a free tire size height calculator online. I used it a ton to be able to figure out which tire size is the best. I recommend you doing it before buying some tires. Either way, man, I just want to shoot a real quick video talking about a couple things that you should know if you've got a Corvette C6, or if you're thinking about buying one. Just some little hidden gems I found online, man. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're a fan of Corvette C6 content, if you like BMW M5 content, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.